Hey guys, it's Simon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 27th of May, 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on both AEW Dynamite and NXT on the USA Network. Now, I know you guys are going to ask, what show did you like better? Did you like AEW better? Did you like NXT better? And here's what I'm going to say. AEW had, I feel, the better first hour. NXT, I feel, had the better second hour. And overall, I'm going to say that I liked NXT better. That's just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree. You can think that AEW was better. You can think that NXT was better. It's all subjective, to be completely honest. Sinclair Saturday says, I'm so happy that AEW promoting HBO Max. Why are you happy about that? I'm not happy about that because I can't even get HBO Max unless I want to watch it on my phone. I have a Fire Stick and a Roku, and there's no app for it on either. So I'm kind of like, whatever anyways. I don't think I was going to get it because there's nothing right now on HBO Max that interests me. But even if I wanted to, I can't even watch it on my daggum TV. But with that, like I stated, we're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about NXT. But before we do that, I do want to remind you guys that we do have our merch store up right now, pwunlimited.co/store, where we do sell all of our merch on our TeePublic store. We also have a Teespring store that is linked to our YouTube. Just head over to our main YouTube channel. Hit that store tab. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. So with that, I do have to see, well, who's with us in the live chat right now? We do have Kristen McNutt, Dorian Abercrombie, Rachel Buck. Thank you for the super chat donation. She says Matt Riddle is going to SmackDown. That's what's being reported. I heard he worked to SmackDown tapings this week, so I guess that's the thing. And he lost tonight, and we'll get into all of that later. We also got George J. Cox, Broken King Slender, Derek Bocek, Young Tev, Wayne Montgomery, P2K, and so many more of you. So with that, let me see. Sean H. says, you think Gallows and Anderson go to AEW too? I don't think so. Anderson has really been teasing he's going to New Japan, or that he wants to go to New Japan. Maybe they end up in AEW, depending on if they get a good deal or something. And who knows if AEW is even going to offer them a deal. We don't know that. We honestly don't know who they're going to offer deals to, who they're not going to offer deals to, this and that. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, they're not losing as much money as they could have if they didn't sign the new TNT deal, but they're still not making enough money where they can just go out and sign anybody they want. Plus, we've already learned, the AEW roster is pretty much full. You add too many more people to it, and then you're going to be like WWE with half of your people sitting on the sidelines every week with nothing to do. Just saying. Just saying. So with that, we're going to get into AEW Dynamite first. We'll talk about that before we talk about NXT. Dynamite kicked off with a video recapping the biggest things, not everything, but the biggest things that took place at Double or Nothing. We then saw a skit with the Inner Circle backstage. Jericho was trying to fire up his team for their pep rally later tonight. Santana and Ortiz ordered too many Stadium Stampede champion shirts. And Jericho's like, well, it's okay. We got these shirts. We can't really do much with them. We only have a couple boxes. And Ortiz is like, it's more than a couple boxes, bro. And Jericho's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you know, so-and-so from the streets, he gave me a good deal, and, well, he opens up the truck they're sitting on, and the truck is jam-packed with these shirts. Kind of funny. Jericho looked very disappointed. There was a skit backstage with the Elite. Well, actually, the Bucks. Well, no. It started with all of the Elite. The Elite and Matt Hardy hanging out backstage. Hangman said that he was going back to the hotel to drink. Kenny Omega offered to drink some milk so he wasn't alone. Hardy put over that this was the first time ever that he teamed with the Bucks, even though they teamed in the Stadium Stampede, but I think he means in the traditional sense, in a regular match. Nick and Matt then said, you know, there's a specific version of Matt Hardy that we want to team with. Do you think we can get that? You got to go way back. And Matt goes, oh, okay. And he comes back and he's like a Hardy Boys Matt. And they're like, no. So he leaves and he comes back again and he's wearing like his old No Mercy gear. And I'm like, oh, okay. What's this supposed to be? Whatever. Okay. So we got the Young Bucks and Matt Hardy taking on the team of Private Party and Joey Janela. I do have to say off the bat, we don't have an update on Mark Quinn. It looked like Mark Quinn may have injured his knee off of a dive in this match. So Matt Jackson and Mark Quinn began the match. Janela quickly tagged in. The Elite worked him over. Hardy and Nick did trademark Hardy Boy spots. When Nick hit the step-up leg lariat in the corner, basically poetry motion. Quinn then took Nick off the apron with a flying head scissors. Janela hit Nick with a tope suicida. Nick avoided a silly string. Janela and Nick fought to the floor. Nick accidentally hit the Butcher with a super kick in the audience. Butcher and Blade brawled with the Bucks in the crowd. Nick came back with a facebuster on the stage and a destroyer. Hardy and Cassidy got tags. Hardy hit a side effect for a near fall. Hardy hit a double DDT on Private Party, a side effect on Janela. Then he hit a beautiful-looking moonsault on all three of them, only got a 2. Then the match broke down. Private Party hit Stereo Tope Gongios on the Bucks, but Mark Quinn came down and landed just a little awkward on his left knee, and he was basically out for the rest of the match. Cassidy went back in to work with Hardy. He was distracted by Quinn's possible injury, and the finish saw the Bucks hit more bang for your buck on Cassidy. Hardy then covered him for the pin. Immediately after the match ended, Matt Hardy jumped to the outside to check on Mark Quinn. Great of Matt Hardy to do so, and Matt Hardy and the referee, I believe the referee was Bryce Remsburg, correct me if I'm wrong. They both helped, assisted, tried to help Mark Quinn to the back. They got him up on the stage. He couldn't put any, and I mean any, weight on his left leg. And then Isaiah Cassidy also helped him to the back as well. So the Bucks were still in the ring after all of this. And the Butcher and the Blade jump in, and they jump the Bucks. All of a sudden, an old school black pickup truck enters the arena. And I'm like, entering in a truck again kind of thing. I don't think this is Cody. But it wasn't Cody. It was FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. So it looks like they are going by the name FTR and not the Revolt. Because all they called them was, FTR's here, FTR, that's FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wilder. They made their way down to the ring and teased attacking the Young Bucks. But instead, laid out the Butcher and the Blade. They gave him a double-team spike pile driver and a shatter machine for good measure. They squared up with the Bucks, but then left before attacking. I mean, I assume we're going to get the Bucks versus FTR eventually. How long they hold that off for? I mean, maybe till September 5th, all out. Maybe that's when they hold it off for. Maybe sometime this summer at Fyter Fest, because that's all they told us. Tony Khan said, we'll have an update on Fyter Fest on Wednesday. And all they told us was, Fyter Fest coming to us sometime this summer. I'm like, okay. So Jon Moxley came out and joined commentary. Moxley said he's been stuck on the couch since his war with Brody Lee at Double or Nothing. And I go, okay, couch in your hotel room? You didn't go home. He said he's here to get a close look at his next challenger, Brian Cage. So Brian Cage with Taz took on Lee Johnson. Cage won quickly after hitting a buckle bomb, a power bomb, and hitting the drill claw finish. Taz then cut a very strong promo after this match. He addressed Moxley. He said he respects Moxley for all the dues that he's paid throughout his career. He said he's the top guy, and he's dealing with a different kind of animal in Cage. Taz said he wants Moxley to bring his heart to Fyter Fest. He wants him to bring the fight that they know Moxley brings. He said Cage will rip the heart out of Moxley's chest. Taz says, beat Cage if you can, survive Cage, or survive if Cage lets you. That doesn't sound original. Can't remember who it was, but I know I've heard someone say that before. It might just be an old Taz saying from ECW. beat me if you can, survive if I let you. I think that's what it is, an old Taz saying from back in ECW. I'm not 100% on that, but I know I've heard that saying before. So next up, Britt Baker comes out. She's in a wheelchair with a knee brace on, and I go, Britt, where was this wheelchair and knee brace when you were drinking and partying and having fun on Monday with the roster? Or wherever they bust you guys to, whatever little cabana you were at, having fun with Mike Tyson and whatnot. Baker was pushed out on the ramp by Rebel, who she's still calling Reba. Tony Schiavone introduced her. Baker said, rule number 3 of being a role model, well, is don't hurt the role model. She said that the tandem attack on her last week was part of a conspiracy, since perhaps the AEW actually started. Britt Baker said Chris Statlander being an alien is a crock of shit, and she's a conspirator. She said Hikaru Shida is a fake champion who carries a weapon and is a conspirator. She said Nyla Rose typically comes off the top rope with precision and grace, but she hurt her last week and called her a conspirator. Baker then brought out another board and basically said that the root of the cause is Aubrey Edwards, who's a conspirator. She said, every time I get injured, who's there? Aubrey Edwards. She said, it's no coincidence. Baker then said that they are all on notice. She tried to get out of her chair. Or no, she said they tried to take her out, but they can't. And she will be back at All Out. So it looks like Britt Baker will be out till All Out. That is Alexa. How many weeks till September 5th?
September 5th, 2020 is in 14 weeks.
So Britt's going to be out of action, presumably, for 14 weeks. Jeez. I didn't expect her to be out that long. Okay. Baker then wheeled herself away, revealing the back of her wheelchair that read Roll, R-O-L-L model, not R-O-L-E. And to be honest, I thought this was Death TV. I thought this segment just horrible. Just sucked. Usually the Britt Baker, Tony Schiavone stuff is good, but this was just so bad. This was like, get the clicker, change your channel. Right here. Get the clicker, change your channel type of TV. I didn't like this segment at all. Alex Marvez was backstage with the Inner Circle. Jericho promised cheerleaders a drum line and presents during their pep rally tonight. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Orange Cassidy just wanders into shot in the background. Jericho asked his partners if they had seen that, and Jericho said he'd see Cassidy later. And I'm like, okay, interesting. Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. That would actually be pretty entertaining. Thank you, Sarah Small, for becoming a super chat. No, a YouTube member at the donation tier. We really do appreciate that. If anybody else would like to follow in Sarah's footsteps and become a member, you can do so by going down where it says subscribe and hitting the button right next to it that says join. We do have some stuff we're trying to work on to get some exclusive member-only videos out for people at the mid-card tier. But thank you for joining at the donation tier, Sarah. We really, really do appreciate it. So next up, we got Hikaru Shida versus Christy James. They had a quick little match here. Fair back and forth. I thought Shida should have got a little more action than she did. I don't think Christy should have got this much action on the new champ, but hey, it was all good. They also did a spot where Shida just stood there and let Christy James dance and then hit a springboard arm drag. I'm like, why is the champ just letting her do this? Champ's got to show her dominance. Dominance. She had hit a drive-by knee lift on the apron and a vertical suplex for a 2 count. James answered with an enziguri. James missed a cape rata, which allowed Shida to hit her running knee for a 2. Shida then hit her Falcon Arrow and pinned her for the victory. Next up, we got a promo from Cody. It's actually a really good promo, really establishing the TNT Championship as something special. Cody asked Schiavone if he knew why Tom Brady was his favorite quarterback. He said it's not because he's a New England guy. He's not welcome in Connecticut. Just saying that right now. And that was one of a few WWE jabs tonight. Like, ba-dum. hated him. Because I think it's in the next match. They're talking about the crowd, and JR just basically goes, oh, yeah, well, they could be locked behind plexiglass. And I'm like... And then the fucking, and I'll get into this later, Jericho Mike Tyson stuff, it's all based off of what happened 10 years ago in WWE. Are you kidding me? Anyways, Cody with his jab saying he's not allowed in WWE or Connecticut. He said it's because Brady was the first pick. Cody said that when Tony Schiavone started a wrestling company, Cody wasn't the first, second, or third. He said that he's not bitter about that. But if he was, that bitterness was absolved by winning the TNT title. Cody said Dustin got all the Dusty genes. He said he learned everything about grit from his mom, Michelle, and a little Cuban lady. Cody said, if you're someone who's critical of him bell to bell, then judge him by what comes next. He issued an open challenge. He said this challenge is open to anybody. And we saw a couple people not in AEW go on Twitter and say, oh, really, an open challenge to anybody, one being Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder. And Cody put out a tweet saying, this is an open challenge to anyone. There was a subtle heel line in here. That was pretty good. During Cody's promo, the cameras cut to QT Marshall, Ali, Brandy, and Dustin in the crowd. If you don't watch Dark, this is kind of like a four-man tandem now. Ali, I guess, is no longer the bunny. But yeah, she's kind of like aligned herself with Brandy, QT, and Dustin. I don't know why. And I guess like QT Marshall's horny for Ali is the way they're going. So we'll see how it goes. They then announced that the winner of this next tag team match will actually get a tag team title match next week on AEW Dynamite. Then the winner of that match will go on to Fyter Fest sometime this summer and face off against the actual number one contenders, the Best Friends. And I'm like, whoa, slow your roll, guys. Why do we need to determine number one contenders to determine who the champions will be to face the already crowned number one contenders? It's like going here to here, back to here, down, over, up, and around. You don't need all the convolutedness, guys. You just say, hey, Omega, Hangman, you're the tag champs. Best Friends, you're the number one contenders. You're fighting at Fyter Fest. Because why does this need to be a title match next week? Do we really think that Hangman and Omega are going to lose the belts? If they do, they'd be dumb. Because I don't want to see, and I'm just going to say it right now, Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian versus the Best Friends. I was very excited to see Best Friends versus Hangman and Omega. I thought that would have been a money match. Because those four guys, I feel, could work really, really well together. Not saying Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian can't work well with the Best Friends. But I feel like Omega and Page and their style work better with the Best Friends. So as I already gave away the finish, Havoc and Sabian did defeat Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian. SCU! Anyways, the match started with some high fast-paced brawling. Kazarian and Sky cut Havoc off and worked him over a bit. Sabian used a kick to the face, to the floor. Havoc then used a eye poke. Sabian used a back elbow for a 1 count. After a commercial break, Kazarian made a hot tag to Sky. Sky got cut off with a rolling DVD from Havoc. Sabian then hit a double stomp off the top for a 2. Kazarian hit a leg slice on Sabian from the apron. Kazarian tagged in and hit an assisted DDT for a 2 count. Kazarian hit a cutter, but Sabian broke up the Enziguri pin attempt. Sky and Kazarian set up for the SCU later, but Ford tripped Kazarian from the floor to set up the finish. The finish saw Sabian and Havoc hit a double team finish where Sabian hit a shotgun dropkick into a Michinoku driver by Havoc. They hit this on Sky, and Havoc picked up the pinfall victory, advancing them to next week, where they will face off against Page and Omega for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Well, an NDW show here in the chat says it makes sense because he says it makes sense because Omega and Hangman haven't teamed up in a while. Okay, but why does it got to be a title match? That's what I'm saying. Why does it have to be a flippin' title match? Also, Chase Brim, I don't really like you putting words in my mouth because I actually never said that. Also, guys, remember, if you want to give me your thoughts on either show tonight, AEW Dynamite or NXT, you can do so by texting in to a 510-906-1341. Against the text line number is 510-906-1341. Excuse me. So MJF and Wardlow were backstage. MJF said that he hasn't had a title shot in AEW and thinks someone in the office has it out for him. He said that he and Wardlow will be in the Battle Royal tonight. He said once they are the last two, Wardlow, well, he knows what to do. Wardlow said, and MJF said, but nothing. MJF played this off as a rib on Wardlow and, well, walked off. Wardlow acted like maybe, just maybe, if he and MJF were the final two, he wouldn't just bow down and let MJF win. So we'll see where this is going. So the match is starting, getting ready to start, and Orange Cassidy's music hits, which I think the Best Friends theme is one of the best themes in wrestling right now. It's one of my favorite themes. And Orange Cassidy's coming out, and what happens? He gets attacked by Santana and Ortiz. So this, I don't even know where to start here. So at one point, Luther kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Grabs Marco's stunt and just ragdolls him. And Marco lands like on the side of his head, shoulder, just, ugh. And I'm like, ooh, that looked like it hurt Marco. This then kind of enraged Luchasaurus, and Luther and Luchasaurus went at it for a while before Luchasaurus basically choke slammed Luther over the top rope onto the apron, eliminating him from the match. Sonny Kiss was then thrown out next after Jim Ross called he a she. He said she, as far as referencing Sonny Kiss. A little mess up there by Jim Ross. MJF attacked Kiss on the outside after he was tossed. Old Billy, because that's what they call him. They don't call him Billy Gunn, even though it's weird. It's weird because they reference the Gun Club, Billy and Austin Gunn. But then when he entered the ring, his graphic just said Billy. And I believe on commentary they only called him Billy. But they were like, this could be a big win for the Gun Club. And I'm like, can he not be Billy Gunn? I don't know. But Billy Gunn eliminates Colt Cabana. Dark Order spokesman then hands Cabana a Dark Order flyer on his way back. And then he looks at it, he ponders over it, and then he folds it up. I thought there's a missed opportunity here. I thought it would have been right in Colt Cabana's wheelhouse to ponder over this flyer of the Dark Order and then fold it up, paper airplane, throw it right back at him. That would have been so Colt Cabana style. Brandon Cutler and Peter Avalon were then next eliminated simultaneously during the break. Marco Stunt eliminated Christopher Daniels. Wardlow then eliminated Marco and threw him onto Daniels at ringside. MJF and Wardlow eliminated Gunn and Luchasaurus simultaneously. And at this point, Orange Cassidy joined in the match. MJF went for a diamond ring shot on Orange Cassidy as Wardlow had him held, but Orange Cassidy ducked and popped. Boom, hit Wardlow with the ring. Cassidy and Jungle Boy then threw out MJF and Wardlow. Cassidy and Jungle Boy were the final two here. Cassidy and Jungle Boy did some nice closing sequences. They did some elimination teases. They then traded some strikes and lariats. Jungle Boy then basically gave Orange Cassidy a Hurricane Rana over the top rope. He held on, threw Orange Cassidy over, skinned the cat. Fucking Jungle Boy and take on Cody next week with the TNT title on the line. That should be a pretty interesting match because Cody has always been a big advocate for Jungle Boy since AEW started, and I think Cody will give Jungle Boy a lot in this match. Also, as we stated earlier, it was announced that Omega and Page will defend the tag titles against Havoc and Sabian. Plus, we did learn that Le Champion, or as Jake Hager says it, Le Champion, will be in action next week. Tony Schiavone literally said, "It is a treat and an honor when we see Le Champion in action here on Dynamite." We then got a Stadium Stampede recap. And then we saw the drumline and the cheerleaders for the Inner Circle. And then we saw the cheerleaders yell captain, Vicky Guerrero, as she enters in a half shirt to introduce all the members of Inner Circle. And she didn't need a megaphone because she's Vicky Guerrero with a loud voice and she can just yell louder than a megaphone. So Vicky announces everybody. And they go down to the ring. And Jericho and the Inner Circle are talking about what they brought with them. They've got all these T-shirts that they're just going to give out to the fans. They made the T-shirts for the crowd. So they're throwing T-shirts out, and a T-shirt gets thrown back at them. And they throw the T-shirt, and the T-shirt gets thrown back at them. And they throw the T-shirt out again, and the T-shirt gets thrown back at them. Ortiz and Jericho start getting mad at this, and Sammy calms them down. He goes, hey, it's all good. Don't get mad. I've got you guys gifts. Sammy says, now, we didn't really win at Double or Nothing, but hey, there's something even better. We participated. And because of that, I've got everybody trophies. So he hands all the trophies out, and Jericho goes, whoa, why does mine say best dad jokes? And Sammy just literally goes, in a great line, he goes, well there's a pandemic going around. It's kind of hard to find stuff right now, so I did the best I could. And Jericho goes, oh, that makes sense. Santana said that he had individual gifts for everybody, like a sandwich for Ortiz. He gave Hager some Timberland boots, and Hager's all jacked up. And yeah, I got the boots. He goes, yeah, but they're the knockoffs. And Hager's like, yeah, I got they're knockoffs. It was just great. He played that great. And then he says, I also got something for you, the champion. It's a picture of Mark Anthony. And Jericho goes, Mark Anthony? He's my idol. Jericho said he's got some gifts as well. And he gave a gift to Sammy Guevara in the form of a scooter because he said Sammy Guevara is too cool to be walking around on some geeky crutches. He also said that since Ortiz had his bell rung, he can't really hear right. And so he gave him some earmuffs. And all of a sudden the ringing went away. And he says, I can hear now. J.K. then said, my grandpa always told me the best gift is a handwritten poem. And he said a lot in this poem, and then he also said he can't run over the elite with his Tesla. Guevara then asked Jericho, what do you really want? And Jericho said, he's like, you got us all these gifts. What do you want, Chris? And Jericho says, I want Mike Tyson's head on a platter. He said that he hadn't forgotten something that Tyson did to him back on January 11, 2010 on a Monday night. And I go, oh, fucking Lord have mercy. You're going to start a feud based off of something that happened a decade ago in WWE? You got to be fucking kidding me. He said Tyson turned on him that night. And he's been dreaming about getting his hands on Tyson and his fat head ever since. Guevara goes, well, I don't have his head on a platter, but I do got you a cheese platter and a little bit of bubbly. Guevara looked for the cheese and the bubbly, but it was gone. All of a sudden they say, who's got the bubbly? Where'd the bubbly go? And Tyson enters with his entourage. Tyson out there with Henry Cejudo, Vitor Belfort. I think I saw Rashad frickin' Evans and others. And they're eating the cheese and drinking the bubbly. Fucking Henry Cejudo out here retires from MMA and does an interview like the week before or the week after was talking about, I want to get into pro wrestling. I've done amateur wrestling. I've done MMA. Now I got to do pro wrestling. And what? Fuck. He's here. AEW. Fucking Triple C. So Tyson enters with his entourage like I stated. Jericho said he's given Tyson one chance to apologize or he'll knock him out. Tyson said Jericho deserved what he got 10 years ago. He said, you stole the title belt. Jericho said, apologize. Tyson then tore his shirt off and shoved Jericho. The locker room then emptied as the two started to have a pull apart. Cody's even out there holding back Tyson. The show ends with Jericho and Tyson screaming at each other. Jericho's just yelling, Tyson! Tyson! As he's being held back in the ring. And Tyson's being held up on the stage just going, I got you. I can fight you right now. I can fight you. And it was okay. I'm not going to say I hated the segment. I don't know how much of a needle mover Tyson's going to be. And here's my two questions for you now. A, do you guys like AEW actually starting a feud based off of something that happened 10 years ago in WWE? And B, Tyson keeps saying that he wants to have a legit boxing match with Evander Holyfield. If he does this pro wrestling match with Jericho, could that, I guess you could say, hinder any interest and validity that a real boxing match between him and Holyfield could have? Because if they say, oh, Tyson don't got it, he's got to go do that pro wrestling stuff to show that he's a badass. I just don't know if it's the right move by Tyson to do a match with Jericho or a pro wrestling match at all if he's looking to make a boxing comeback, even if it's just a one-time match with Holyfield. That's just my opinion, though. That's just what I think about the Tyson stuff. So we'll see where it all leads to, whether they have a match sometime this summer at Fyter Fest or they drag this out for 14 weeks till we get to All Out on September 5th is to be seen. As far as the show overall, I think I would give the show a 7 out of 10 if I had to rate it. And with that, before we move on to NXT, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor, Manscaped.com. Flowers are blooming, the grass is grooming, and it's time to mow your lawn. Thanks to our sponsors, Manscaped, you can trim the hedges below the belt safely and efficiently. I'm talking about ball trimmers. Manscaped is here to make sure your balls are smooth and smelling nice. After all, it's time for some spring cleaning. Now, like I always say, you don't have to keep it trimmed up there because you may have a lady friend or a partner, whoever that likes to see it trimmed up. You got to keep it trimmed up for yourself as well. I mean, guys, do you like doing your thing down there and it being a little hairy? I'm just saying. Guys, also, if it gets a little too hairy, it could start to smell. It could start to musk up a little bit. And it's a little harder to clean. But when you got it all trimmed nice up down there, bada boom, wipe it up, there you go when you're showering. It's easier to keep managed. And Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-belt waist grooming. They have forever changed the grooming game with the Perfect Package 3.0. Precision engineered tools for your family jewels. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the essential Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. The third generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped advanced skin-safe technology. Manscaped obsesses over technology to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience, and they only use the best ingredients in their formulations. Inside the Perfect Package, you'll also find the Manscaped Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. It's starting to get hot outside. Trust me, I know. It was 102 here in Fresno. And this is crucial so your balls stop sticking to your leg. And as our treat, you'll find the Crop Reviver, which will keep your balls smelling fresh just like them spring flowers. Subscribe to the Perfect Package and get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer always stays hygienic and clean. And for a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, a $39 value, and the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Again, like I stated, they're super comfortable. very lightweight, and you almost feel like you're not even wearing any boxers or any briefs or whatever you want to call them. This is the perfect package for your perfect package. Get 20% off and free shipping with code PWUnlimited at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code PWUnlimited at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use code PWUnlimited. It's spring cleaning, baby, and your balls will thank you. Also, before we get into NXT, I do want to remind you guys, if you want to text in and let me know what you think of tonight's AEW or NXT, you can do so by texting into 510-906-1341. Again, the phone number is 510-906-1341. Plus, remember to head over to our store, pwunlimited.co/store, as we do have some new things up there as we are promoting the artist portrait team. He's got some really cool new t-shirt designs that we put up on our store. So not only would you be supporting us when you order some of these things, you'll also be supporting other independent artists as well. So that's another cool thing that we're doing. We're helping promote other independent artists with their t-shirt designs on our TeePublic store. Give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. So, NXT. NXT starts off and they tell us that we're going to have a cage fight between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher tonight in the main event, and it is in the NXT Fight Pit. After their partnership imploded 2 weeks ago, Riddle and Thatcher will face off in a cage match that can only be won by knockout or submission. And this cage looked pretty fucking sick. So the show opened up with the finals of the Group A. There's a triple threat match with Drake Maverick, Jake Atlas, and Kushida. Winner advances to take on El Hijo del Fantasma next week to become the interim Cruiserweight champion. Atlas got the shine early with a moonsault off the middle turnbuckle to the floor on Kushida, and then he springboarded into a blockbuster for a near fall on Maverick. Kushida soon fired up for a cartwheel dropkick and a couple of palm strikes. At one point, all three were trading strikes when the show came back from a break. Maverick sidestepped the other two, and he capitalized with a missile dropkick. Atlas was knocked off the apron, leaving Kushida and Maverick in the ring. Kushida dived off the top turnbuckle with a flip dive to the outside and wiped out Atlas. Kushida at one point dropped Maverick with a wind-up punch. Atlas then caught Maverick in a German suplex. Atlas executed the Rainbow DDT on Maverick. Kushida broke up the pin, though. Atlas then hit Kushida with a kick. Atlas tried to climb the ropes, but Kushida tripped him up. All three men then took turns fighting on the turnbuckle. Kushida hit a flip off the top into a cross arm breaker that, well, he tried numerous times in this match and finally got it this time. Kushida was wrenching on the arm when Maverick jumped in and put his arms over the chest of Atlas. The referee counted Atlas's shoulders down for the 3, and Maverick actually ended up getting the fluke victory here. Very creative, but my question, well, I guess it's not really much of a question, because you could say, why didn't Kushida let go? Well, because Maverick was holding down Kushida technically when he was pinning, so it all worked out. Drake Maverick moving on to take on goddamn El Hijo del Fantasma for the interim Cruiserweight Championship. I don't see Maverick winning the belt, but if he does, kind of an FU to everybody else that was released. They then told us, as we already learned officially at In Your House, Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai will both challenge Charlotte Flair in a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae then cut a promo. It came down to the ring. Gargano says that he's being misunderstood. The quote-unquote Gargano way isn't about eliminating people, but instead, he claims it is about making NXT a better place. He said, there were at least a few good hands there, and he wanted to give people a chance. He announced tonight, for the first time, the Johnny Gargano Invitational. Gargano will give a young wrestler a chance of stepping into the ring with the greatest performer of their generation. Drum roll, he announced, first participant, Adrian Alanis, whoever the hell that is. And, well, Johnny Gargano defeated Adrian Alanis in the first ever Johnny Gargano Invitational. Gargano offered to shake his hand. Well, that was a red herring, and he sucker punched him. Alanis fought back, only for him to run into a super kick. Gargano applied the Gargano escape, and he tapped out quickly. Gargano and LeRae celebrated, but they were interrupted by a skit from Mia Yim and Keith Lee. They were spoofing the Gargano skit from their dinner table. They made fun of the flashlight spot from the previous skit. This is actually pretty funny. Yim prepared LeRae's favorite kind of dinner, takeout. Tegan Nox delivered them a pizza, but she had eaten it all but one piece. And they're like, Tegan, you're turning on one of your best friends here when you're in the comedy skit that's making fun of them. Yim and Lee then got serious and cut some promos to hype up their upcoming mixed tag team match. But I'm like, when are we getting this mixed tag team match? Because next week it's the singles, and at the pay-per-view it's a title match, so I don't even know. Maverick was being interviewed backstage when Kushida approached him to encourage Maverick and tell Maverick that he needs to go and win the title. This is a nice little rah-rah thing. Imperium cut a promo on Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. So I guess they're going to be the next challengers for the NXT Tag Team titles. We then got Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai taking on Shotzi Blackheart. Blackheart used her quickness to counter Gonzalez in the early portions of this match. Gonzalez soon cut her off. Meanwhile, Kai got in Blackheart's mini tank and went to drive around ringside when Tegan Nox would run down. She shoved Kai out of the tank, and Blackheart in the ring got a near fall off of a roll-up. After commercial break, Gonzalez was working over Blackheart. Gonzalez with a power slam for a 2. Then she applied a bear hug. Gonzalez dashed a hope spot using a backbreaker for another 2. Blackheart then made a comeback, took a nasty bump on the outside, and she landed hard on the floor. Nox was checking on her when Candice LeRae would come down and confront Tegan Nox. I guess Candice was upset that Tegan was in the skit making fun of her. They really didn't say. I think I heard at one point Candice said, "Shame on you, Tegan," or something like that. Or I'm ashamed. It's just something along those lines, like "shame on you" or something. Meanwhile, in the ring, Blackheart was trying to finish the match when Kai interfered. The ref finally got back in as he was, for some reason, distracted with Candice and Tegan. Gonzalez then hit a side slam and then covered Blackheart for a pin. Boom. There you go. Raquel Gonzalez picks up the victory. We then got a really good vignette hyping up the takeover match between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Next up, we've got Charlotte Flair and a mystery partner taking on Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. So it turned out that, that mystery partner was none other than Chelsea Green. And I'm like, ooh, what a great pick. I didn't even think about this. More on commentary. Honor the memory of Hana Kimura during Shirai's entrance. Flair let Green start the match, which kept Flair away from her upcoming challengers for the time being. Shirai wiped out going for a tiger feint kick, and Green leapt through the ropes with a tope on Shirai. With Shirai hurt, Flair was now more than ever willing to tag herself into this match. Shirai with a receipt on Green when Shirai dived through the ropes to splash Green. Reversing a whip, Green sent Shirai crashing into the guardrail before a commercial. Later on, Ripley was a house of fire after getting a hot tag, and Green fed into her. Flair twice, in the matter of a moment, jumped in and broke up a pin. Flair then went for the figure 4, but Shirai made a save. Nice little double knee save. Shirai tagged in, and she had Flair reeling for a near fall. Shirai with a roll-up and a double stomp on Flair. She then followed this up with a tiger feint kick. Green then pushed Flair out of the way and took the bullet for her, and Green got in the path of the springboard missile dropkick from Shirai. Ripley was knocked off the apron, and Flair rolled up Shirai with a schoolgirl. Flair put her feet up on the ropes to add the leverage and picked up the victory, pinning Io Shirai. Io was very upset afterwards. She's like, "Feet are on the ropes! Your feet were on the ropes!" Next up, Tom Phillips introduces that the NXT champion Adam Cole has requested some time with general manager William Regal for a formal negotiation, and they did this over like a Skype call. I know people were calling it Zoom, but technically it was Skype. Cole was, of course, the heel in this match and kept insinuating that to Regal. Cole wanted Regal to agree that the Velveteen Dream can get one more shot, but if he loses, never gets another shot again. He's like, I don't want Velveteen Dream anywhere near me, anywhere around me if I beat him. And of course, he never gets a title shot against me as long as the title is on my shoulder. Regal said, I agree to the Stips. The Dream gets another shot, and his last shot at TakeOver. He then told Adam Cole, I will find a venue that is worthy enough of shining a spotlight on the NXT Championship, and we'll have this match on June 7th at NXT TakeOver in your house. So I assume Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream will be doing a cinematic match, very similar to Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. A vignette profiled Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. This was really great character development for the two. The feature concluded with them meeting in a bar to drink, well, water. They toasted and basically stated that they wanted to go after the tag titles at TakeOver. Next up, Tommaso Ciampa defeated Leon Ruff. Scarlett was at ringside watching on. Ciampa pummeled Ruff and then executed the fairy tale ending to score a pretty quick pinfall. Afterwards, it looked like Scarlett was leaving, and boy howdy, does Scarlett play just a perfect creepy female. Or I don't even have to label it female, just creepy person. Like, she is the perfect, almost perfect, just, I'm going to creep you out with just my eyes. I'm going to make you doubt yourself just by looking at you. So Scarlett was getting ready to walk away. Karrion Kross appears on the Titantron. This was like something out of a comic book movie. The superhero in Ciampa just defeated one of the lesser villains, when then all of a sudden the big main bad guy appears on some random screen. This is like a Spider-Man thing. All of a sudden, like, Spider-Man just took out one of Kingpin's henchmen. And now all of a sudden, Doc Ock is up on the big screen in Times Square saying, I'm coming after you. That's what this gave me vibes of. I'm coming after you, Spider-Man. But basically, Karrion Kross is just like, you said some things last week that weren't wrong. But at TakeOver, I'm coming for you. Tick-tock, tick-tock. They then announced that next week, the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship Tournament will see Drake Maverick versus Phantasma. Also next week, Mia Yim will go one-on-one with Candice LeRae. And also, we will be getting prime targets featuring both main title matches at NXT TakeOver. So I assume that this Cruiserweight Championship match and the Mia Yim Candice LeRae match are going to be the only matches on the show. I assume maybe they're hour 1 and then hour 2 is the prime target stuff, or vice versa. Then next up, we got the Fight Pit. Matt Riddle versus Timothy Thatcher. And this match was a fucking banger. This match was an all-out, drag-out brawl that I just, I loved it. Oh, and hey, by the way, Kurt Angle was a special guest referee. So they had this new, great, just steel cage setup with scaffolding around the top as a catwalk or a perch. No ropes, no turnbuckles. And they said the match must end inside the cage. The winner must either submit or knock out their opponent. Knockouts would be determined by a 10 count. And this was, like I said, amazing. They started off on top of the platform, as they stood on opposite corners of the catwalk. Riddle leapt off the catwalk and rolled through it into the ring, and fucking Matt Riddle was just like, come at me, bro. Look what I can do. And I was just like, that right there just showed that this is going to be amazing. Like, from that first opening little thing, I knew this was just going to be phenomenal. So Thatcher went down first when Riddle springboarded off the side of the cage into a disaster kick. Thatcher was able to get to his feet to break a 10 count. He was then all of a sudden spitting out blood and even a tooth. Angle put on the gloves and checked him out and said, "Wait, we got to stop this match really fast. Doctor, come in, check him out." Ringside physician comes. The doctor also checked on him and said, "Hey, if he wants to go, I'll clear him to go. He's good. He can fight." And Kurt was like, "You good? You okay?" The doctor's like, "Yeah, I can go." And they went to commercial break. When they come back, they were grappling. Riddle went for another springboard off the cage, but this time Thatcher countered with the Fujiwara armbar. Riddle escaped, only for him to take a suplex a moment later. Thatcher then applied a half crab, and Thatcher transitioned that into a crossface. Riddle was able to break a 10 count and get to his feet. A grappling battle developed on the ground with both going for submission holds. Riddle escaped the guard and mounted Thatcher for some ground and pound. Thatcher went for a triangle, and Riddle deadlifted him. Riddle went for a powerbomb, to powerbomb Thatcher into the cage, but Thatcher instead broke free and climbed to the top of the platform. Riddle joined him up there on the catwalk, and there was another referee up there. There was, what was I going to say? They were trading strikes on top of the platform when Thatcher caught Riddle in an ankle lock. Riddle then kicked free, but there was no water in the pool on this attempted senton. They were teasing a high spot off the apron, and Riddle hit Thatcher with a ripcord knee. Thatcher tumbled off the apron or off the platform to the ring below. Riddle then hit the floating burrow, his little backflip senton, on Thatcher all the way down in the ring. Riddle landed a fury of kicks, but he crashed into the cage when Thatcher sidestepped to charge. Thatcher then locked in a sleeper hold. He was riding Riddle like a jockey, just strangling and ripping at him. And finally, Kurt's got a check on him, and it was 1, 2, 3. Kurt calls for the bell. Matt Riddle loses. Timothy Thatcher is your winner after Matt Riddle passes out by technical. So technically, Thatcher wins by technical submission. And I thought this match was great. It was the greatest thing on both shows all night. I loved this match. And now this sets up Matt Riddle is done in NXT. He's moving up to SmackDown. Spoiler alert. And now you got Timothy Thatcher as this just fucking badass heel that's going to just rip through anybody, that's going to just kill people in NXT, and I love it. I freaking love it. So with that now, we do got some text messages here. Remember, if you want to text into the show, you can do so at 510-906-1341. You can get your questions, your comments, your concerns read there. Also, you can get your comments and questions and concerns read if you submit a Super Chat donation. Super Chat donations are heavily, heavily appreciated. The person does state, any news on when Finn Balor will be coming back to the main roster? Because I heard him being in NXT wasn't going to be full-time. I had heard possibly this fall, but nothing's for sure. This person here says it looks like AEW is copying everything WWE already did with Tyson. I wouldn't go that far. I just don't like that they had to bring up a WWE thing to make this Tyson Jericho thing seem actually like there's a reason. This person says, are you doing Twitch tonight? Possibly. I have a few news videos I got to get out after we finish this review. But since it is only 8 p.m., I could possibly jump on for a couple of hours. This person says, do you see Chris Jericho and Mike Tyson at Fyter Fest or All Out? And what about Tyson versus Holyfield boxing match? I already gave my thoughts on this. I don't have to say it all again. This person says, I really like how that should have saved Riddle versus Thatcher for TakeOver. Hopefully they can do a tiebreaker match at TakeOver. Ain't going to happen. They wanted Riddle on the main roster, on SmackDown. This has been the plan since before WrestleMania. And finally, Vince just pulled the trigger and said, we need him this week. So, or we need him next week, or whenever he said it at the next tapings. So they had to write him out. This person said, man, WWE went dark with Scarlett when she was a smoke show in Impact. I'm not comparing anything that she's done previously because I don't like doing that. I don't like saying, oh, well, this person's character was this in a different company. Now it's this in this company. Now we have to compare the two gimmicks. No. She's doing something that seems like it's going to be really, really good in WWE, so just let it be, and let's see how it is. I actually like it better. If I'm going to compare, I like it better that she's this creepy female with Karrion Kross other than I'm just this hot, sexy female that every guy wants. No. So the tag call tonight, do you think Velveteen Dream is going to beat Cole for the title takeover? I sure hope not. I sure hope not. I don't see Velveteen Dream as the face of NXT. He could be a top guy, but I don't see him as the face, the champion, the guy. So with that, I do want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight as we talked about both AEW Dynamite and NXT on the USA Network. Thank you guys for watching live. Thank you guys for watching later right here on YouTube. And you can follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram. Just search Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And follow us on Facebook at PW Unlimited. You can also follow me on Twitter at TimmyBuddy. And also follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy. Trying to hit a goal of 10 subscriptions for the month. And remember, on Twitch, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime. And with your Twitch Prime, that gives you one free subscription to any, and I mean any Twitch streamer on Twitch that you want to subscribe to, you want to support, you want to show that love to, and it's not going to cost you anything if you have Amazon Prime. So I would greatly appreciate it if you did support me on Twitch, because all the money that I make off of Twitch will go right back into PW Unlimited, so that way I could maybe pay Nick to do more here. Maybe I can upgrade my computer so we can have even better high-quality produced videos. Got a lot of ideas, just need a little bit more dough to make it happen. So with that, thank you guys for joining me here tonight, and have a good one.